And I was exposed to Habiling Japan, and while scrolling their items that are being sold there, I came upon the Macros SDF1, which is currently made by this company Arcadia. And after seeing some reviews and comparing prices, I finally went and purchased the SDF1 from Habiling Japan. And from there is this channel Scorch Earth Toys. He reviews a lot of Macros's figures. So that's where I got more information about the Macros's. And he also I came across one of his videos, which is the Megazone 23. To give you an overview of Megazone 23 is a OVA, or original video animation, which has three parts. It's sort of like a mini series. And we're not gonna dwell about it's being a crossover with the Macros. So yeah, after watching this movie, um it's a movie series. This It's a good series. I think it before the movie Matrix was released, I think a concept of that was based from this. It's about you're living in a current world that's not really the reality. That's the overall plot of this series. And so when Megazone, the OVA, was released as a series, of course, in Japan, when you release a animation, you should um, expand its mileage. So the mileage is through books, comics, and this one, toys. So when Arcadia, to give you a brief history of Arcadia is a toy company which patterned or got the molds for these figures from the original toy company Yamato. So the Yamato's toy company, they were the ones that really executed the accurate depiction of mostly the Macros's line, and this one, the Megazone. So when Yamato went out of business, Arcadia got the molds, or bought the molds. And the problems that the Yamato figures has, Arcadia corrected it. And most of the scales of Yamatos are big. Not most, some. So for some figures, what Arcadia did is, the figures doesn't have to be big. It has to be in a good scale. And the problems were being addressed. So the things that were being addressed is the joints are very loose, the finish was not as good, the details are not as good. So what Arcadia did is they made sure that the details are good, the joints are great, and they made it die cast. That's the one big improvement that Arcadia did. So so after, when the Arcadia released the first Garland, that was I think 2018 or 2019, the first Garland, I was not that into it, mainly because of, for one, it's quite expensive. Then another, right then, I didn't have that kind much of an attachment with the Garland. But after, if I have some time, I look at the reviews, it grew on me, the Garland. Then eventually I wanted it. But when I decided to get it, the first Garland was no longer available. So I just took my time, and all of a sudden Arcadia released this one, the Proto Garland. And just to give you an insight, the Proto Garland is basically the design of the original Garland, but updated a bit, just a bit. So, the first Garland was, the first Garland machine in the OVA. So when you're a collector, you really want the first release. But seeing and comparing the design of this still has the design of the original. So for me, it's a win-win. I still got the design of the original with a couple of improvements in the design. So I decided to get this one, and I get this one at a very good price. So okay, so yeah, just to give a shout out to Nippon Yasan. Nippon Yasan really serves me well. I've already purchased 3 figures from them, and they're a really good seller from Japan. Okay, without any much to say, let's finally open this one. So it's finally here on my hand, and the reason why I have these gloves, because this is a very high finish product. When I say high finish, I'll explain. This figure is painted, so it's not paint molded in plastic. And the reason why I say that it's a very high end, because the joints, like that one, just gonna slowly flip it over. These joints are die cast. That makes this figure quite heavy. So the metal parts of this figure, all of the joints are die cast. Man, if you can just see in person the finish of this one, it's like it's painted. It's painted like an automotive paint. It does. It really shines so well. And look at the translucent plastic right here. So this is how premium this figure is. It's painted, and the die-cast parts are painted. So I don't want to put any fingerprints, because fingerprints has oils in them, and it will cause eventual tarnish to the paint. So just looking at the details, man. If I can only transform this into the I forgot the mode. This is the maneuver slave mode, to the battle ready mode. Surely looks awesome. Okay, so we're gonna slowly. So we're just gonna tweak a little bit of some of his just to open and see some of the design. The details. Wow. Super nice, man. Super nice. And finish is so great, man. The panel lines. And the one improvement that they made from the first Garland to the Proto Garland, they retained the the originality of the design, 90% of it to 95%. And they added those little details which are not present in the original Garland. Some of the panel lines are not original or not present on the original Garland.